Hey guys, and welcome to the live stream, which I really, really hope is working. So the software that I normally use went up to $400 a year. Was like, um, like $10 a month, and it went up to $400 a year. So I'm hoping, oh, I can hear myself on my phone because I wanted to watch it to make sure that it was working. I'm hoping that this new software works, but I literally took a 10-minute YouTube course in how to do it. So I can see the cool thing is it has like a little level thing to show me whether my audio is working or not. And it's super expensive. When I saw that, I was like, okay, so I have 6 weeks before my subscription renews, and I've got to figure out a new solution. I tried two other options, and neither one of them really worked. They were mainly for people that game, where they're playing the game, and then I'm not sure if that this is all the way out to where it's supposed to be. Is it just like a square for you guys in the corner? The picture of me, or is it the whole screen? Um, so anyways, I saw one that was just like super expensive and actually I'm gonna switch it there. There we go. Now I'm a full screen. Um and that didn't work. And it was mainly for like streaming games and stuff. And then the other one was just way too complicated for me to learn because we all know that I do not have much luck with technology. So yeah, it was interesting. I do have a timer that can go on this time too, so that you guys will have a timer for this. And hopefully I'm going to be able to figure all of these things out. Audio sounds mechanic, or is it just my computer? Jenny, I'm not sure. Yeah, OBS is what I'm using, Tearstone. Um, but the learning curve is pretty steep. I watched one 10-minute YouTube video because I had literally no time to figure this out. If you guys didn't see my community post, I have been gone. I was in Massachusetts, North Carolina, Arizona, Georgia twice. I evacuated for Hurricane Milton. I just got back from Georgia and I have henna on my hands from my stepdaughter's engagement party, which was a Pakistani Indian engagement party. It was super fun and the henna was super cool. Um, but I've been traveling a lot and now I'm home until Christmas. So I'm super excited about that. And I can have all of the classes and the manuscript feedback and the masterminds and all of those other things. So, Jenny, the audio should be okay because I'm using actually the good mic, the Yeti one, because I figured out how to make that work on OBS. And hopefully it sounds good. And yes, Tearstone, if you use OBS all the time and have like some tips, because I'm probably doing things wrong, just let me know. Jenny, I did see your question at the beginning. I've got a double audio thing going. Oh, you know what it is? It's probably take my headphones off. That's what I'll do because I don't really need those. Okay. 'Cause I don't actually need them. I don't have anything to hear because you guys aren't talking to me. So that should have removed that. I think I had my headphones in, whatever. I don't know if it's working good. So Jenny, I saw your question about the points of view because you had a scene that was opening in the female's point of view, and then a scene opening in the male's point of view, and you wanted to know if you should name them. That's kind of a personal author style choice. I tend to do that if I write in first person because I think sometimes it can be hard for the reader to figure out who is speaking if you're writing in first person and you switch points of view. Even though your job as an author is to really differentiate these characters, if the reader puts the book down for a little bit, they can get kind of confused. Um, but if you're writing in third person, I don't think you need it. You also asked if you should use John or Sir John. And I think, especially if you're writing in first person, it should be however the person thinks of themselves. Like, I don't think I would think of myself as, Maiden Shirley or whatever in medieval times. So he probably wouldn't think of himself as Sir John. Um, I've talked to writers about that before. Like, people don't tend to think of themselves by their last names unless they've had some kind of disassociative experience, some traumatic experience. That can be a way to kind of show people that they've had some disassociation issues. Um, but yeah, I would do it with whatever makes sense for that character and whether you think you need it or not, particularly if the characters sound kind of same. And yes, I did take Shirley took out my extra headphones because they're always in when I'm on my computer because I'm usually working on videos or something or listening to some kind of music. So yeah. Hi, Miss Blogger. Nice to see you, and good to see all of you guys that were here early. We're going to do, if this is your first time, I probably should have started with that. Um, we do 15-minute writing sprints, and I answer writing questions in between. And I do have a prompt for you guys today. I've got to kind of clean up my little image that I've got on there because I kind of have it. It's hard to see. Anyways, that's between me and my settings. And Gayla, thank you so much about the course. I'm really glad that you like it. I will drop the course link in during our first sprint so that you guys that are interested in it can check it out. It is a lifetime access thing. So once you sign up for it, you can go back in and take the course and watch any of the videos that you need or grab the handouts anytime that you need to do that. It is going to become the basis of writing the compelling romance when I have a whole bunch of spare time to write that. So, all right, let's get started on our first writing sprint, because that's like the big test of OBS for me. Like I gotta transition it over, make sure the music is working and everything else. So let's fingers crossed that it works right, and we'll see how it goes. So I think I have to restart the timer, um, or start it after I go over. So I'm gonna start the timer. I know it's not there yet. Let's go for 15 minutes. And I don't know. Yes, there it is. I will see you guys in 15 minutes. Okay, so we did it, right? It seemed to have all worked. I tried it on my phone to see if it was working well, and I think it worked in 15 minutes worked. Um, and Tearstone on payments, I think, are you talking about for StreamYard? So StreamYard started out like $10 a month when I first started using it for my streaming. Went to like 30, but they gave me a discount for paying for a year, and it was like, I don't know, 100 for the year, like 179 maybe. And now it is like 45 or $49 a month for the basic plan. There's no more free plan, and then almost 400 for a annual plan. And so I was like, that is ridiculous for something I use like two or three times a month. So maybe 3 hours total a whole month. And so that's why I did that. And here's some for for the romance course. Yes, I think there is a split payment option for the romance course. I'm pretty sure I put in a three payment option for it. It costs a little bit more because I got to pay for more processing on my end, but absolutely you can break it down into payments. In this blogger, there's a lot of information and tropes about romances on the internet, and I'm trying not to be a jerk about this, but all these other people did pay for the course, and I realize that money is tight for you, and I do explain a lot of things on my channel all the time. I answer all of your questions 99% of the time, even the repeated questions. I'm doing my best here, but I also have the lights. I have lights to keep on and food to put on the table and a mortgage to pay. So I started the course so that I would have a way to have some more income for myself. Because as we all know, books don't really make a whole lot of money. It's a very fluctuating industry. And so I wanted to also be valued for what I teach you, right? If you want me to give everything away for free, then how is that valuing what I am bringing to the table? And especially in light of like recent events around the world, I really think that people and women especially should be valued for what they bring to the table. You have something valuable that you bring to your work or your family or whatever you do. I have something valuable that I bring to the table. And I really would appreciate, being paid for that a little bit. It's not a very expensive course. And I don't know. I guess I shouldn't really justify charging for the knowledge I've gained over 75 books. But tropes are just basically a way of describing your story. It's like a hook in a way, because there are certain readers that really like, opposites attract and fish out of water, and they are not specific to romance. If you watch, is that movie with Billy Crystal when they were on the Dude Ranch? That's a fish out of water story. Tropes are popular in all kinds of movies. It's just the basis you find for your story. But I'm not going to go into depth because that is what the people in the course are paying for and what they should get. Um, and Cheryl working on a scene where the two characters are having a bad moment in front of the mercantile, and the little girl runs into the street in the path of a wagon, and he saves her. Well, if you don't like it, maybe it could be your gut telling you that it's not really working. Um, I think your little girl character is like 9. I'm not sure if she is young enough to like just dart into the street like a 3-year-old might do that, but a 9-year-old would probably not do that. So maybe think of something else that she can do that, or something else that happens to her that puts her at risk. It's a possibility. Nice to see you here, Heather and Silver Ollie and um, Gayla and anybody else that I forgot to say hi to. This chat moves like differently than the one that's on YouTube, so I may be getting that wrong. Anyways, I'm going to put the link into for the class while we're talking about it. I suppose I should do that. Here is the link for the class, and if you use code YouTube, you get 10% off. Hi, Jean. Nice to see you. How do I come up with the names in my books, Jenny? Well, I have one rule of thumb. I don't like to repeat the same first letter with two different characters in my books. Like I'm reading a book right now where two of the female characters both start with an E. And they're from two different generations and they're very far apart in age, and it's super confusing. Like when I put the book down for 4 or 5 days when I went away, and I picked it back up and I'm like, wait, which one is this? Because it's like an EM name for both of them. And they are kind of related and stuff, but it's very confusing, I think, to the reader, especially if the reader puts the book down. Like when they pick it up again and they forget which character is Emma, which one is Emmeline, or whatever you end up having. So I don't like to have a name that is repeated with the first letter with another character in the book, particularly another major character. And I also try to think like, I don't know about you, but when I see people whose names are like really unique, like Isaiah. Like I kind of picture like a really intellectual guy, right? Or somebody that's really peaceful and calm. So when I think about a name for somebody, I really try to picture what would I think an Isaiah would look like or Emily would look like. Fun fact, Emily would have been the name of my daughter if I'd had a third child. I did not. So I never had an Emily. So one of my kids is going to have a baby and named Emily for me. But when I think of like an Emily, for instance, it kind of gives me an image of like a wholesome, dark-haired girl. That's just for my interpretation. Doesn't mean that that's what all Emilys look like. So think about what the name, how it fits, and what it would give the reader the perception of. You can also flip that on its head. I have done that before where I have named the bad guy like a typical name of a hero on purpose so that I could really kind of throw the reader off. So the reader did not expect the bad guy to be that person. And Jenny, see, a character named Isaiah that's a priest, that totally works. Because that is what I would kind of think with the character is, it's somebody smart, wise, calm, all of it. And Jean, yes, you can join the masterminds at any time in January. I think the program will be changing in 2025, however. I've been doing a lot of thinking about it, and I realize that it's very helpful to the authors that participate in it, but it does take a significant amount of my time um, because of the critiques that I give. So everybody gets 5 pages, which if you guys had seen what I give to the other people, it is a lot of work. Um, I'm going to start a writers boot camp in the community in January. We're going to do like a 12-week writers boot camp that you can join. It'll be a course. Every week you'll get a different section of the course for a different part of how to write a book, like planning the characters and planning the plot and writing the first turning point and all of those different elements of the plot and the story that you need, how to segment on revision and all of that. And then we're going to have a couple of live streams that are just for people in the course. So I haven't put it up there yet. I haven't like figured out pricing. I'm still creating the plan for it, but I'm going to launch that in January because that way you can start fresh in January with a new book and just write from beginning to end. And for National Novel Writing Month, which I'm like 8 days late for here because I've been out of town, I think we're just going to run like a little contest on the community to give somebody free entry into the Writers Boot Camp. So that's the plan anyway. Some things will be changing in 2025 with the community in terms of what we offer and everything, because as I've been building it, I've been kind of seeing what works and what doesn't work and where I want to take it. And I am definitely going to offer a lot more courses next year. Some of them will just be like short little courses that'll be really inexpensive, and others will be longer, like the Writers Boot Camp. So these are all things that I just needed to basically be home long enough to record the videos, edit them, and get them up there. And now that I'm home for several weeks, so excited, um, I can do that. I can have some planning time to do that. And as you guys probably know, travel is exhausting and changing time zones and all of that. So it's taken me a little while to kind of get caught up on work and get back here. So speaking of that, I have a proposal I have to turn in at the end of the month. So let's do another writing sprint. And then if you guys have questions, you can drop them in there. I got to start the timer again. You got to start there. And we'll come back in 15 minutes. So see you guys soon. Hey guys, and that was another great 15 minutes. Thank you for writing with me. I've gotten part of the way through chapter two, so I'm so super stoked about that. And yay, Cheryl, on realizing that your character does not have a goal for that scene and doesn't have a reason to be there. So you could cut it, or you could give her a reason to be there that ties into the plot because she's got the kid and herself, and she probably needs some supplies. So possibly you could do that. And yes, Tearstone, that's what your gut was probably telling you was wrong, was that wasn't something there. And I think Tearstone, you had said that you had thought about writing romance back before, and I think I missed that comment earlier. Yes, it was a genre that I wrote. I actually have a video coming out on Monday that I talk about why I ended up in that genre when I first started writing after all the other fits and starts of different types of books I started. I think this video is like 15 minutes of writing advice is what I think it's called. I haven't written the title or thumbnail yet. Still editing it, which takes the most amount of time. Um, and the first sprint, yes, Hakamo, nice to see you here. Yes, you just missed the first sprint and a little bit of discussion at the beginning. The good thing about these, though, is that should still be on the channel after this. I'm assuming OBS just does all that for me so that then you can watch it again after that. And I'm trying to get through my proposal, which is due this month. Really should have had it in already, but I was traveling so much that I just couldn't get to it. It's almost impossible to find quiet time to concentrate and write when you are staying with family or traveling quite a bit. So, and look at that. You guys didn't have any questions. I love that. I love that, but I also miss it because I love answering the questions. And this blogger had asked, I saw you took the message back. I didn't even know you could do that. But you had asked me how I come up with the writing prompt questions. I did see that at some point when I was looking over here. And these are honestly things that I have used already in my own books when I've been stuck, or something that I'm thinking about with the book that I'm working on right now, and something that I came up with that I thought, okay, maybe I should add this here. So this question about having the character answer the door or the phone, I've had that happen before. And that's the end of, where is it? The Marvelous Monroe Girls at the end, just down here the very end of the Marvelous Monroe Girls, I decided to have my character answer the phone. And it was a surprise that I didn't see coming that became the whole plot of the second book, which was the Forever Family. So sometimes I like to just do that, just have the character do something like open a door or open a drawer or a box or a photo album and just see what happens because that can be really fun. Uh, Okay, so let me know if you guys did the prompt because I think it's super fun. And with my book, that impacted the scene tremendously because it sort of sent the whole family in a different direction and like I said, became the second book, the whole plot. So it was a nice little twist there. Yes, and thank goodness we've moved on from quill pens. I just could not do that. My handwriting is so atrocious. Like, it's just so bad. Here's my notes from a meeting today that I had, and I'm not even sure I'll be able to read it later. And my notebook that I keep next to my bed for notes that I put in there before I go to sleep is absolutely horrible because by then I'm just really tired and I'm having trouble reading. And I do have a book think it's on my shop. I do have a notebook for the channel, but I spilled water on it, so it looks all cranky now. But I have separation anxiety from my book because a lot of times I do, especially when I travel quite a bit. Pretty sure you can get that on the store on the channel itself, but I also have a store linked in my circle community, which is a very long story about Google Ads not liking what I did with my other store for some reason, and it wouldn't let me put it on the YouTube channel. So that's why I have two until I can figure that out. And I have to say that Google is very unhelpful in their help things. They just keep sending me back the same error message, which is saying that I'm doing my ads wrong. I'm not running an ad, haven't run an ad on Google in a couple of years. So I don't know what's going on their end, and it's almost impossible to get a human being. So I'll get that when I can. And I'm really glad that you like the romance course. And in case you missed it at the beginning, I'm going to start a writer's boot camp in January on the Circle community, or maybe on the Thinkific. It depends on which one it works better. Probably Thinkific, which is where the romance course lives. It's like it's really hard to find one source that gives you everything that you want for a community and courses and everything else. I think eventually I'll move over to Kajabi, but Kajabi is the most expensive of them. And I wanted to kind of see what the reception was to courses before I started paying. I think it's like $2.99 a month. So it's $299 a month. And Miss Balgar, I just answered the prompts question for you because I saw it when I popped over here. Could you talk about why you're migrating my sites together? Well, because of money, really. I mean, it's $100 a month for Circle. It's $100 a month for Thinkific. It's now $45 a month for StreamYard, and it's just ridiculous. Like Canva's a couple hundred a year, CapCut's 100 a year. So all of the little things really add up when you have a channel or you have any kind of a marketing budget like that. So I'm looking at all of these costs that add up with the channel and with teaching you guys. And I want it because, again, I don't want to charge a ton of money for courses or things like that. I want to keep it relatively affordable. And so I'm going to try to migrate everything together as I figure it all out, my assistant and I. Because I've been traveling so much, I've not even had 5 minutes to sit down and watch videos or anything on that. I've heard good things about Kajabi. Yes, that my one of my clients uses it as well. I just didn't want to make the leap into that much money until I saw how the courses kind of played out. So there may be some growing pains as I shift and figure out what works best for everything that I want to build. So, and Thinkific did give me a 2 week free trial, so I'm a sucker for the 2 weeks free trial. And Jean, thank you for reading the book about the sisters. Yes, that was the third one that you're talking about. And what's that one called? Is it there? The Something Borrowed Sisters. So it was the Marvelous Monroe Girls, the Forever Family, and then the Something Borrowed Sisters. I don't know why they departed from the title kind of category, the title structure that they had with the second book. I remember having a big discussion with my editor about it. They just really thought that family would sell better than sisters or girls or women. So whatever. It actually didn't sell better. The other two sold much better than the middle one, but I don't make all the decisions at my publisher. So how many channels will I end up with? Well, I'm only going to have one. Well, I take that back. I have one How to Write Fiction YouTube channel. I'm thinking about starting a how to build a platform as a nonfiction author channel because that's actually what I coach a lot of my clients to do. But then that would be it for YouTube. Like, I don't think I could manage any more video editing or even afford any more video editing. Video editing is very time consuming. It's like an hour per minute for every video that I create. So, it takes me, I don't know, let's say a half an hour to record a 6 minute video because I have a lot of stops and starts and oh, I should add this and things like that. Despite if I write out a script and everything for myself. And then it's an hour-ish per minute to edit that. So that's a lot of resources and stuff directed towards that. So I'm only going to have definitely Write Better Fiction YouTube channel and maybe a How to Build a Platform as a Nonfiction Author channel. Um, and then everything else is just all community kind of things. So it will eventually all become one, but got to kind of see what works best for my community, for me, for where we're at and what we have to load. Like I didn't have enough classes to make it worth going over to Punjabi, so we'll see. And Jenny, how do I plan my books? Do I use notebooks? So I don't do a lot of planning anymore. I used to, because I was really kind of struggling to figure out how to plot back when I first started writing. That was Daisy over there sounding like a little gremlin because she's getting hungry for dinner. Um, I mainly just start writing the first two chapters or so and let these people tell me who they are. I kind of have a what if idea. Like the romantic suspense that I'm working on right now, that proposal, I had a what if idea that I brought to my agent. She's like, I like that. Let's write that. And so I just started with that idea and began writing and kind of let the characters talk to me and tell me who they are and kind of come alive on the page. Then I'll go back and start kind of planning out what's going to happen in the story, but I'm very loose about it. I'm going to talk about this in Monday's video because I don't work well with an outline and a big, really structured plan. I just don't like that very much. So I'm much better if I can write from my gut. And so I use that to sort of decide what's going to happen next. Plus, I've written at least 100 books, maybe more. And a lot of that happens kind of in the back of my head while I'm working and stuff. So, well, thank you, Gina. I appreciate that. Exciting, yes, lots of growth. There's been a lot of growth. I'm very thrilled. The channel has like 4,200 people, and I didn't even share this on my channel yet. I haven't even had time. But this, YouTube sent me as part of the Rising Creator program, another little gift. They had given me this light, and then they gave me this little Lego thing that I had to put together. I'm not a Legos person. It took me like flying like all day to figure it out. Not my area of expertise. I'm not an artist that is like a creator visual kind of person. I'm a word person. And if you write yourself in, do you find it easy to kill those darlings if they're no longer useful to your story? I do. Actually, I used to keep all of the scenes and characters that I would delete from the book and keep them in like a hot file folder on my computer. And at some point, because I'm a billion years old, migrating between floppy disks, like remember the little hard 3.5 inch disks, and then the big 5.25 inch floppy disks, and regular computers, and all kinds of like external hard drives and all of that over the years, because I'm probably on my 25th computer at this point. I lost those and I stopped keeping what I delete. I just started just letting it go. And then I never think about it because I don't remember that I wrote that. Like I've written so much and I write so fast, and I'm still writing 3 or 4 books a year of my own, then I don't really think about those words. And a lot of times when I work with an author and I rewrite a section of their book, I tell them, you can go ahead and use those words. I will never realize that I wrote them for you because I'll rewrite the section to show them what I mean. Because I will totally forget that I even created them. I'll be like, oh, that's lovely. You did such a great job. And Miss Slugger asked, how old was I when I wrote my first 10 books in 8 years? Well, how old was I when I started? I don't even remember. Because I sold my first book in 2000, my first romance novel, I think, in 2002. So subtract back 8 from that. I don't know. I was young because I've been doing it for a long time. What is that? 22 years. That's you're gonna make me do math. I'm not a big math person. I would say that I have been writing all my life because when I was a little girl, I would take the books that I read and rewrite the endings or write my own little stories. And for about a year, I ran a suspense story as a serial form in the newspaper, in the weekly newspaper that we had in my town. And I was only 17 when I was doing that. So I was writing a serial story every week for about a year. And then they cut it and had to wrap it up super fast in one episode. And I got my first book contract when I was like 26, I think, for a nonfiction book. And then I started writing fiction because I really wanted to figure out how to write novels because that's what I always wanted to do. But I guess I always was writing my whole life. I've been very blessed that I have never had to have a career that wasn't writing. And I've always been able to make a living doing what I do. So it's really awesome. How did I find my technique changed from early days if I don't plot now? So it was a lot more of that, what Cheryl just experienced, right? Listening to my gut, like reading a scene and going, I don't think this works. Now, in the beginning, I used to have a critique partner, and her and I would work together all the time. Back when I was on like book 8 or 9, I think I met her. And then all through the first maybe 10 years of my career, she and I worked together all the time. And that would really help me because I'd have somebody else to bounce ideas off of and somebody else that would look at it and say, I don't think this works. I don't think the emotion's coming through or whatever it was. And neither one of us were published in the beginning. So neither one of us knew what the heck we were doing, but we had our instincts and that would tell us, okay, we need to do this or that instead. And so that helped me develop that gut feeling as I'm going along and saying, oh, I think this is going too long or this isn't fleshed out enough or would they really do that right there? And when you read a lot, because I read, I don't know, 3, 4 books a week, and I write a lot, that develops that instinct for you so that you kind of feel that the book isn't working right or that the pacing isn't working right. Sort of look at your gut when you're reading books or you're watching movies or TV shows, because a lot of times, like my husband and I watched Don't Move on Netflix last night. I'll save you the time. Don't bother watching it. It is not anywhere near as good as Don't Breathe was. And there were so many plot holes. And I get all up in arms and I'm like, why would they do that? Why would they do this? And he's always like, it's not in the script, honey. It's not in the script. And but when you notice those things yourself as you're watching shows or reading things, that is you developing those instincts to say, okay, I need this to be a little richer. I need this to be a little deeper. I need my character to act better here or make one of the things that I say all the time in the masterminds, make this scene a natural progression of events. That did not happen in Don't Move. The natural progression was not there in a couple of different scenes. So that was a lot of that, sort of just really developing those instincts for how to tell a story. And now to me, it's like a big, huge puzzle. And I can see some of the pieces and I can't see others, but it's that part's fun to me to kind of figure out how to put it all together. That's not to say that I don't get super frustrated in the middle and super frustrated just before the end, thinking I'm not going to be able to figure it out. Um, because that happens all the time when I think I've written myself into a corner, but then I go back and I reread and I'm like, ooh, here's this little thread here. I can pull this out and restitch the ending essentially. And so I will kind of plot a little bit. Like, I don't know if I have notes in this one. Yeah, this is notes from something else. My notebook that's by my bed has there's some plotting notes because I sort of know where I want some turning points to be and some other important things to be. So I do a little bit, but it's really minimal. I mainly focus on developing the character. And yes, Kirstone, I met her at a writing group, and she was fantastic. Even though neither one of us had been published in fiction yet, she had really, really good instincts. And we worked together for a number of years. I could teach her books. She ended up becoming an author as well. She sold to HarperCollins too. And so we worked together really, really Silver Alley, I know what you mean about this gut feeling. When I write something, I get the feeling it's not right. So I keep working, and then one day everything just falls into place. Exactly. Sometimes, you're just, it's like driving somewhere without a GPS, and you kind of have a familiarity with the place, and you sort of kind of know where north is. Hey, Daisy, wait. Um, but you kind of go by your gut instincts. I got lost once in North Carolina after Hurricane I want to say Irma, maybe it was Ian. And I was driving up north and I had been detoured off the road and I had no idea where I was, but I knew which way was north. And so I just kind of kept going that way to get back to I-95. And that's sort of what that gut instinct thing is doing with you. And Tearstone Frady Cat about writing. Everybody is, trust me, even the books that I put out, like when I started the channel, I was like, all these people are going to be listening to me talk about writing. And then they're going to look at my books and they're going to be like, oh, this is crap. I'm not going to listen to her. Or they'll worse tell me that it's crap. Um, and so that fear is always there. And you have to, I don't have that shirt on today. You have to feel the fear and write anyway. Writing forward half a mo when I have no idea about who those characters are or what the plot line is so hard. Like, where am I going? Yes, I have those days where I'm just writing, and sometimes it ends up being cut completely, but I learned something about my character that I can use. And that's part of the thinking behind the writing prompts. Like, even if you don't use this phone call or the door, whoever comes to the door, it tells you something new about your character, hopefully, so that you can use that in the next scene. And so, all right, I was going to do a third one, but Daisy, I think, will literally eat me for dinner if I do that. And yes, Cheryl, we all kind of do that gaslighting thing to ourselves because our self wants to protect us, and so we kind of try to talk ourselves out of scary things. I've been listening to Dr. Tara Sawart. I think she's a MIT neuroscience expert that does workshops on neuroplasticity. And it was really cool when she talked in this interview. I'll share it on the community page. It was really cool when she talked in this interview about overcoming those inner doubts and why we have that, and everything was really cool. So, all right. Thank you guys for joining me. Sorry we only got two sprints in. I talk too much as usual. But we will be back next Friday. I should be here every Friday except for Thanksgiving because I'm cooking Thanksgiving this year. So I'm going to take that Friday off. I'm going to be sleeping. So I'll share that podcast that I just listened to on the community page so that you guys can check it out. And I'll have a new video on Monday. So thank